Right, well, it is that time of the year again. Today is the 27th of December, just after Christmas, and moving towards the new year. It is an absolutely stunning day in Cape Town. Today we've had quite a bit of rain over the last couple of days, so today the first beautiful sunny day after Christmas. We're grateful for the rain, but also very grateful for the sunshine. So as you can see, I'm on leave, short sleeves and a t-shirt and this horrendous beard. Megan wants me to shave it off, but I must say while I'm on leave I'm quite lazy, so it'll come off at some point in the new year. Now that's what I really want to talk to you about today, is this time of the year as we move towards the new year, people start reflecting on their commitments, what it is that they will do in the new year, what they want to commit themselves to. And I do that myself, even though it's just an arbitrary change in date. There is something about that point, that marking point, that causes one to reflect, to say what's been in the previous year and what is to come, and do you want to make any changes or course corrections along the way. Now, one of the things that I've noticed about my own commitments for each new year is that they often fall into the category of what we would call personal ethics. They have to do with those things about myself, my own life, the choices that I make that can make my life better. For example, it happens to be a windy day as well, as you might be able to see with the leaves behind me. I'm not sure how well my little wind muff will do on the camera. If it's terrible, we'll re-record it. But one of the examples is very often people choose new fitness regimes into the new year. And of course, I've done that myself. I'm hoping in 2020 to run my first full marathon. 2019 was a great year. I ran a couple of half marathons and did some ultra distance and multi-stage cycling. But very often these kinds of choices that we make around fitness, around diet and weight, around free time and choosing not to work quite as many hours, or perhaps some of us are wanting to work a little bit more. I know my wife Megan's busy with her PhD, which she wants to finish this year. So these kinds of commitments often have to do with ourselves, with the choices that we want to make so that we can have a better life. When we ask ourselves that prime ethical question, what is a good life? We think, well, if I was a bit fitter, perhaps if I had a little more time, if my mental health, my spiritual well-being was a bit better, then life would be better. Now, of course, those are not bad things to do, and I want to encourage you to make a few reflective commitments about what is good and what is right and what is beautiful for you in the coming year. Certainly, I'm going to be doing the same. However, there is another aspect about the choices that we make, and that's not just the personal ethics side of things, those things that will make your own life better, but we also need to think a little bit around social ethics. And I seldom hear people making the kinds of commitments that are necessary to reflect what would be better for the society in which they live, the community in which they find themselves to be a part of, perhaps the nation in which they live, how they can use their time better to serve others, to serve the common good, how they might use their resources to deal with issues like growing economic inequality or poverty in your region. In my case, a lot of the work that I do is around reconciliation and restitution in South Africa amongst black and white South Africans after the end of apartheid. And this is the second thing I want to encourage you to do, is to reflect on your life and say, what is there that you might commit yourself to as an ethical commitment for the coming year, to say, how can I spend my resources, in my case as a white South African, my privilege, my time, my energy, my commitments, how can I spend that in service of the common good? Now, one of the things that guides my ethical thinking is the work of Jürgen Moltmann, a great theologian and ethicist, and he's known as an eschatological theologian. He thinks a lot about the eschaton, the end of time, the fullness of time. And I often speak to my own students about this and say, we need to live our lives today, make choices about our lives in the present time in relation to that day. Now, the day that I'm talking about is that day in the fullness of time, the day of God's justice, the day of God's reign, the day of God's mercy, the day of God's coming into creation, the day towards which all of creation and all of history is leading. You might have heard that wonderful saying of Martin Luther King Jr., who said, the arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. Now that's a similar kind of claim, that there will come a day where there will be no economic inequality, no racial hatred, no violence against women and children, where every person will be able to have the best chance to flourish and live a life that is full, where creation itself will be blessed and overflow with bounty and with joy and with blessing and with beauty. Now, if that day is coming, then the most ethical thing that we can do today is live our lives in relation to that inevitable horizon. What choices can you make in this coming year to position yourself on the right side of history, to position yourself well in relation to that inevitable day of justice and fullness and flourishing and life? So I want to wish you great wisdom and blessing as you consider what you might do both personally and socially, how you might craft your commitments in terms of personal ethics and social ethics. I pray that you would have wisdom to know what is right and good, that you'd have the courage to order your life, your time, your resources, your energies, your passions in order to achieve those things, and that at the end of this coming year you may be able to look back and say, it was worth it. Not just that I perhaps gained more learning, or that I progressed in terms of my work and experience, not even that you got fitter or that your weight was a little bit lower, but perhaps more importantly that you did some things that served the common good. That because of you someone was educated, someone who was hungry was fed, that a broken relationship was restored, that creation was taken care of and honored, and that together society flourishes a little bit more because of the commitments that you've made. So thanks for watching this year, and thanks for all those who've subscribed to the channel during the year. I'd just like to invite you, you're welcome to connect with me in other ways as well. Dion A. Forster on Facebook, dionforster.com, my website, where you can find out about my books and research and other writing, my ResearchGate profile or academia.edu profile. All of the links to these are in the show notes. And perhaps the easiest, at Digital Dion on Twitter or on Instagram. So remember, this is not a lecture, it's just a thought, and may you be blessed in the coming year. Thanks for watching.